on Purgatory.
Last time we saw Bub, he was trying to muster up the courage to talk to the beautiful Banshee. But as Bub approached, he had his whole afterlife flash before his eyes. He saw the Banshee. He saw them fall in love. He tried to get permission from her dad, but he was adamant his daughter would never marry a demon. But that didn't stop them from a whirlwind romance. But it all started to crumble as they spent more time together. Turns out Bub's got a lot of red flags. They broke up. Bub was devastated and slipped into a deep depression. He didn't know what to do with himself. He tried to drink himself to death, but that obviously didn't work. He eventually got the courage to move on by signing up for the hookup app Deathmatch and started swiping right. Bub went on a few dates, but was snapped back to reality when he ran into his ex, who was also on a date. This didn't dissuade Bub. He kept chasing women that reminded him of the Banshee, but all he ended up with was more demon offspring. Bub snapped back to reality as the Banshee was shrieking for his attention. She was trying to introduce Bub to his coworker Steve, who's been tasked with giving him his orientation. The demons instantly became best of friends. Steve showed Bub around the facility, explaining the duties and what hallways to avoid. He then took Bub down to patrol the outskirts of the facility, where they helped push back the hordes from below. Then, it was feeding time. They collected meat and headed over to feed the gods. Finally, they finished their rounds. Steve decided to knock off early to play cards and ushered Bub off to finish his shift. Bub was on his own now. He headed upstairs to check on Heaven's Gate. He then spent most of his shift ushering lost souls through the facility, their shock of passing making them barely capable of self-navigation. Bub knew that the hardest part of his shift was approaching, and he best fuel up before patrolling the haunted bog. He sped through the bog and finally returned to the facility. Bub cut through the laboratories and made some new friends. Bub's shift was almost over. Suddenly, an alarm was going off. Bub headed to investigate when a massive explosion occurred. Bub was lucky to survive the explosion. Bub found a room full of slimy alien eggs. Who laid all of these in here? Steve was about to find out. The queen had escaped her prison and needed to feed. Bub knew it was Steve's only hope. He donned his armor and headed out to save his pal Steve. Tune in next week to see if Steve is still alive or if he's living rent-free in an alien queen's belly. We'll also check in on Grim to see what he's up to, and we'll also pop in on Garful, who works the graveyard shift and somehow doesn't go completely insane. I know I would.